Hello, everybody. Today is Thursday, April 23rd, 2025, and we are back for another episode of Bricks and Beyond, a creator showcase series. For those of you that may be joining for the very first time, Bricks and Beyond is a showcase series that highlights members of the LEGO community, giving you a personalized look at the person behind the account. Today's guest is a friend of mine joining me from the other side of the city of Pittsburgh. He is a Lego collector, a mock builder, a member of Steel City Lug, and also a YouTube streamer. On Instagram and YouTube, he goes by Jonnybuildz, but I'm here to introduce you to him as Johnny. Let me get him in here. Whew. Okay, there he is. I always get so every time. I think I say this every live. I get so nervous that connection is never going to connect, and then I won't have you here. So
Yeah.
thanks for
Well,
joining.
I've never used it before.
Yeah. Well, this is you're in the YouTube world, so now you've come over into the Instagram world. So
That's right.
what's it feel like? Is it different?
It is definitely different because I'm used to when I stream, I have like my countdown set up, so it goes for a couple minutes so I can kind of prepare myself. Yep. And then I have my little intro, which I didn't get to see yours because I was waiting for the pull-in.
Okay.
and then it starts, Yep. So it's like, yeah. So it's a different environment, that's for sure.
Well, that's a good thing about posting these is you'll get to go back and you'll get to rewatch it here.
Right.
But thank you for joining me, especially out of your element here, and you're into a different element here. But I appreciate it. How's your week been so far?
So far, it's been really busy. We've I guess we'll get into how things are with me. I am an IT person for a bank, and that keeps me really busy, especially since Windows 10 is going end of life this year. So we're switching lots of computers to Windows 11. So that's been happening. And the other thing is, we just started this last year with a couple friends of mine. We are racing. We have a Mazda Miata. Actually, we have two Mazda Miatas.
Oh, okay.
And we're finishing. So we had a race last year. I actually streamed a little bit from it, just like the end of it or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, just for the fun of it. And it was the last race of the season, and we got to be part of it, and we made it all the way to the end, which we were like, wow, we weren't expecting that.
Sure.
And so we took a bunch of things apart because we're like, who we got the car from. We were like, they didn't know what they were doing. It was from two lawyers.
Okay.
They were not racers in any way. And so it was kind of interesting what we found after we started taking things apart, and we're like, why did they do this?
Okay. Okay.
So, like last night, I was just working on the car. I was helping where the car's sitting right now and getting the exhaust back up into it because we're going to go do some practice stuff next Friday.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now you remind me what speedway? And for those who are in Pennsylvania, it probably won't mean anything to you. But what speedway is it again? Not speedway, but what track? What track?
It's called Pit Race.
Okay.
That's the one that, it's only like 8 miles from here. And that's where we do a lot of, just because it's local, but they do a lot of events there that are like smaller. We do what's called Champ Car and Lucky Dog right now. But we were slated actually this year to run at Watkins Glen in May, and we're toning that back because there's a bunch of things going on with one of our members, and we're like, no, we're just gonna pull back on that.
Okay.
And but next year maybe Watkins Glen and Daytona. So we'll see.
Wow, that'd be big time. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll have to put so I don't know if because you didn't see it in the video because everything was just racing past and everything. But I'm actually a sponsor on it too. So it's like there's the giant. Oh, you're close to Watkins Glen. That's really cool. Bricky. or Brick B. Sorry. The so I have big Jonnybuildz stickers that are on the
That's
car too. So
awesome. Oh man, okay, yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, post those. So yeah, if anybody wants to take a look at that, yeah, if you post it up on your site or on your Instagram, or even on the YouTube too, yeah, that'd be
yeah,
cool to check out. So,
yeah.
um, so obviously, you're, what, maybe 30, 40 miles from me, so weather's probably not too much of a difference.
Yeah, yeah,
Did
we
you
got the
guys, you
rain.
got blown away yesterday?
Yesterday it was like yesterday in the middle of the afternoon it was kind of icky, and then this morning at like 4 in the morning,
Uh-huh.
like my entire house was shaking from the thunder, and I was like up like completely, and I was like, this is not
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I feel like we've been getting really bad storms like the past couple years.
Mhm.
Like I don't feel like I know we got storms, but the ones the past few years, it feels like they've been different. And then tornadoes. We've been getting a lot of tornadoes
Yep,
around here
yep,
too.
yep.
So,
I like to watch a couple different of the storm chaser
oh yeah.
channels where they're going through and they're like watching the alerts and everything like that. And I had just turned it on whenever it started getting bad, and I was like, oh, they're talking about something, and I immediately heard Aliquippa. I'm like, oh, they're in our area.
Not what you want to hear when you hear a city close by.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, again, today's Thursday, so obviously, we got one more day till the short weekend off. Whoever came up with 2 days off was an idiot, in my opinion. But
No, come
any big
on.
weekend plans?
No. Oh, this is actually going to be one of the few weekends where there's not much going on,
Yeah.
which is somewhat good because there is a lot of sorting I have to do from a lot of hauls that I've gotten over the last year and a half, and
Okay.
so I really need to start organizing those and work on finishing getting everything organized for the UCS Ewok Village.
Yes. Okay.
Um, yeah, I've got the last couple pieces and things
Nice.
getting
Okay.
so. Yeah, it's almost ready to go, so I can start building that
Okay.
starting on May
Okay.
4th. So
Well, for those of you that don't know, we will get into this. In our log, Johnny is referred to as the resident Star Wars guy, I would say. So, so we will get into that. But before we get into some Lego chat, I want everybody to get the opportunity to get to know you a little bit on a personal level here. So
right,
I'm going to shoot some stuff at you here, and then we'll go from
all
there.
right,
So.
sounds good.
So as I mentioned in the intro, so you are close to me. We are in the same lug, so we're representing the city of Pittsburgh here. So where you live, were you born and raised here in the Pittsburgh area?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I've pretty much lived in this area my entire life.
Okay. Now, where you live now, how far do you live from where you grew up?
About probably about 7-8 miles.
Okay. So you really didn't change much in the lifetime. Okay.
No, I happened to just, like I went around to enough places that was kind of, still within the Pittsburgh area. But I mean,
Okay.
I've visited other states and things like that. But I just something about this area was just, I liked the varying terrain.
Sure.
I
Yep.
liked, the woods, but you also had open fields. It was, it's about 30-ish miles from Pittsburgh,
Okay.
so not so far that you can't go to the city, but far away enough that like the city does not, it doesn't feel like the city is like too close
Yeah.
to you.
Yep.
So it's like an extended suburb.
Yeah.
But I like the varying seasons. I'm a big fan of like winter. I tend to, just I tend to be very hot blooded. So it's like summer is like, I like fall, early spring and winter months the most. But I like the variations of the
Yeah.
seasons, and yeah. So yeah, I just found the area to be fun.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
I'm not gonna lie. So I like your side of the city better than my side of the city. You do like you're far, like because I think I'm closer to the city than you are, and I don't really like that, but it is what it is. But you're also close to the Ohio border too, so like you can
Correct.
if there's somewhere in Ohio close by, like you have a head start on me without having to go through the city or something like that.
Right. We also
Um,
have the advantage where we live too. Like the main highways are like I can get to
mhm.
the turnpike in less than 10
Yeah.
minutes or whatever. So it's like easy to get somewhere and be like, let's go
Yep.
somewhere.
Yep. No, I hear you on that one. So then, did you
Hi, new
ever?
Josh.
Uh, oh yeah, new Josh. I forgot we
New
labeled him
Josh.
that.
Not old Josh.
Did you ever have any interest in moving outside of Pennsylvania just to kind of see what it was like, or you just knew from maybe some trips or something that it wasn't really for you?
I mean, I like I said, I've visited places. I've been to like, plenty of other states, and even my previous job to the one I have now, I did a good bit of
Oh, okay.
traveling. So I was like in places like, I would go through
Oh,
Tennessee, I
nice.
would go to Arkansas, I would
Okay.
be in Iowa. I mean, like I went a number of places and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, they're just not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel like I feel like where we're from, like no matter where you go, when you come across Pittsburgh people, like even if they have moved, it's like they don't call that home. They still call Pittsburgh home. So
Well,
it's just
that's very true, and they also bring Pittsburgh with them. So
they
like
do.
any
Yeah.
any even slightly major town, we go down to Florida a
Yep.
bit and a little bit north of Daytona, and we happened to the one time, this was a couple years ago. We happened to just be like, oh, there's this cool like bar pub type thing. Let's go see and get something to eat. We go in there and not even thinking about it, like I didn't look around at anything that was like on the walls or anything, but we sat down and started reading the menu and stuff. And I'm like, huh, a Ruffles
Yeah.
burger. Oh, and it happened. My wife pointed out, and she's like, "Well, there is the big banner that says Steelers Country." I was like, "Oh, we found the Steelers bar that's here without even trying."
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's actually really good
Yep.
food. So yeah, they're well traveled.
Yeah. We go to Myrtle Beach every year, and same thing. Myrtle Beach is like
Yeah.
Pittsburgh 2.0.
Mhm.
Like you can't
Mhm.
go somewhere seeing a pirate hat or Steeler shirt or something
Yep.
like that. So
Yep.
yeah, we travel well. So all right. So growing up, any sibling? Well, I guess not growing up. It would be your life. Any siblings?
Yes, I have three siblings. I have an older brother, I have a
Okay.
younger brother, and then the youngest is my sister.
Okay. So then you're the second of four then.
I am this yes, and I am the
Okay.
middle boy. So of
Okay.
course, anything you got to think about that is probably true. So.
So what between you and your older brother and then going down the line, what's the age gap between you guys?
Um, my older brother is 3 years older than I am. My younger brother is 3 years younger than I am, and then my sister is like
Okay.
5 years
Okay.
younger.
All
So.
right. So growing up, what was the dynamic like between the boys and then when the girl got tossed in, how did that make a ripple effect with things?
Well, she will tell you, and she joins my streams a number of times, just
Okay.
like to heckle me
Sure,
and
yeah.
stuff. Um, but she'll tell you that like we never included her in anything, and to somewhat of an extent that was true whenever we were doing like the boy
Okay.
type
Yeah,
things, like
yeah.
like we got along really well, and probably until we hit like mid high school, and then
Okay.
as you get to that point where you're starting to getting closer to
Yep.
adulthood, you kind of like start healing away, so to speak, for a little bit, and then whenever you hit true adulthood,
Sure.
you're all back to being buddy buddy
Yeah.
again. But like we would do like it was the age of like just getting into like Nintendo and stuff. So
Okay.
most of what we did was all outside with all the
Yep.
neighborhood kids. So like we had a big giant oak tree in the back of our behind our house, and we would play tree
Oh,
tag,
nice.
or like we would play
Yeah.
neighborhood wide hide and
Okay.
seek, and like all kinds of stuff. Like we were everywhere, and
Sure.
we were just
Back when kids knew how to play outside. Yeah.
Back then they knew how to get dirty.
Yeah.
Germs were not a big deal. I
Yeah.
mean, I got very sick when I was very young, eating a what I thought to me was a giant mushroom. It was probably only like really, but my mom made mushrooms, and I was like, ooh, found this in the yard, gobbled the whole thing, and felt awful. So now I have a decent aversion to mushrooms.
Understandably so. I mean, part of that is your fault. You did eat it out of the yard.
I mean, my mom shouldn't have made good mushrooms, I guess. So.
Well, did you ever tell your mom that it was her fault?
No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. That's a bad idea. You do not do that sort of thing.
I agree. Good call on your part.
I will say this though. My mom has found out over the last few years that there were a number of times where it would like, we would like do things like sneak out of the house in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
or like various things. I mean, I could say maybe if we have time later, I'll say some of the more questionable things we did. But we've told our parents, over, around the table and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
My mom's like, I never knew. And then my dad's always like, yeah, I
yeah,
heard them
yeah,
tromping around. They were being boys. I just let them go. If the police came, then I would,
yeah,
do whatever.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Sounds like my dad. My dad told me once. He said, "I don't care what you do, just don't get arrested." So that's
Yep, exactly. Yep, yep, yep.
all right. So let's just pretend Lego was not a thing as a kid.
Okay, okay.
And I know you said the video games and playing outside, but did you have any other like interests or hobbies that you like really focused on?
Well, I've played trombone since
Okay,
I was in fifth grade. So now I haven't played it really recently. I still
sure.
have it, but like it was all through grade school, high school. I
Oh,
did marching band, concert band,
nice.
jazz
Okay.
band. All the
Yeah,
bands
yeah, yeah.
essentially. Even in college, did jazz band and marching band and stuff. Um, if you snuck out, you'd have
Yeah.
been done for. Yeah, well, it's all in how you speak.
Well, that's
Um, but yes, so I did that. And that actually, marching band and concert band actually took up quite a bit of time. But I was also a wrestler all through high
okay.
school. College, I played rugby.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, rugby has to be
That's
one of it
rough.
has to be my favorite sport.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much fun though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I'm surprised that hasn't taken off more than it
oh,
has.
actually grown quite a lot
Okay.
compared to whenever. So we were always a rugby club in college,
Okay.
and that's what we called ourselves because it wasn't a recognized
Yeah.
sport. So we had to call it a club, but they've now recognized it as a sport over the I think in like 15
Okay.
years ago. But again, college was 25, 30 years
Yeah.
ago for me. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not that old. Um, but
You
even
went
around
to
this
college
area,
early, right? Because you were
yeah,
so smart. Yeah.
no. But even around this area, like Moon Township, they have a girls rugby team, like an
Oh, do
intense
that.
rugby team.
Interesting.
And one
Okay.
of one of the people I played rugby with, he's actually the girls' coach,
Okay.
and his daughter actually plays, and she is a beast. So
Well,
yeah, it's grown around here
okay.
quite a
See,
lot. So
I didn't know that. So that you taught me something tonight because
yeah.
I enjoy watching it and that's a sport where if you have a lot of pent up anger, I mean that's a good way to take out the anger
Oh,
playing.
it's funny though too because they call it a gentleman's sport simply for the fact because there's nothing
No,
gentlemanly about how you play,
no.
but there's a certain respect that you have to have for the other team when you're not actually like engaged in whatever parts it is, and especially to the ref because the ref
Oh,
will
okay.
he will he's basically God. He can do whatever he wants. Like if he says, you know what, I don't like your attitude, go to the other end of the field and that's where you have to start. Or he can just give the other team like 50 points and be like,
Yeah.
too bad. So
Oh,
so it's a huge respect thing. And there is a little bit of tongue in cheek with it. Like
okay.
whenever you talk with the ref, there's a little bit of sarcasm sometimes because there is
Yeah,
frustrations that happen
yeah,
during the
yeah,
matches.
yeah.
But it's a lot of fun, and yeah, as long as you give him most of his due, it's usually pretty good.
I would say, gee, sounds like you're describing the NFL. They do what they want.
They are no, it's nowhere near no. The NFL has nothing on rugby,
Yeah.
and if anyone is interested in like what seeing a good rugby team, like a really good rugby team is, look for the New Zealand All Blacks. They are fantastic, and watching them do their preparation in the beginning when they do their haka, so
I'm
much
have,
fun. It's
I'm gonna
so cool.
have to look into that because I've always enjoyed watching it. I don't understand it, like how they
Oh,
play,
you
so
don't
I have
need
to.
to.
No, I mean you really don't. Yeah, just
No.
watching it's fun, but okay,
It's like it's basically out of bounds is really. I mean, it's just like football, out of bounds, and you have to instead of like it stops and you start. It's like they do a throw in, kind of like
yeah,
soccer. And then if someone like does something slightly illegal or like does a forward pass instead of like a backwards pass or whatever, then you have to do what's called a scrum where they're all
yeah.
together and they go.
Okay, yep,
And then it's just basically running. It never stops.
yeah, okay. Interesting. Well, now I know definitely not to mess with you if you're in a foul mood. So
Yeah. It takes a lot to get me in a Falmouth.
Yeah,
So
and all the times I've been around you, I don't think I've ever seen you not happy. So,
it, my outlook on things is like it's way more. It's way better to be happy, even if you really aren't. I mean, like to have as much of a positive outlook on. I mean, there's always something positive you can find out of a situation
yeah,
or whatever,
yep,
and it's way more healthy and it's way better on yourself,
I agree.
and others around you.
Yep,
So,
I agree. All right, last thing before we get into some Lego chat here.
all right,
Since you've been a lifetime area guy, let's just say there's some people watching or going to watch the recording that maybe are thinking about taking a trip out to Pittsburgh. Any
all right,
special places, either entertainment or eating, or any place that you would say they'd have to come to if they make the trip out?
all right. Right. Well, let's start with we'll say three awesome places to visit that aren't eating specifically, but like just places you have to visit and experience in Pittsburgh. One would be an incline because there's only one
Yep.
left, and that's the Duquesne incline, and that's the trolley essentially that goes up Mount Washington, and it looks really funny. But it goes straight up, and there's at the same time as one is going up, another one's going down, so they can like pass each other. Really cool, worth seeing how the steelworkers and everything got down from Mount Washington. There used to be 20 of them
I
around the
remember that.
city in order for
Interesting.
people to get down, and now there's one. There's only one that works,
That's
and
crazy.
so yeah, so that's one. Number two, I would say, would be the Strip District. The Strip District is a really cool place. They have tons of just markety type things. There's a huge seafood market. That's not for everybody, but there's tons of other stuff that are around that. For as far as like trying to buy something that you're like, oh, what's something unique Pittsburgh? Where just
Yes. Yeah.
that's a place to go.
That's changed a lot too. There's over the
Oh yeah,
years
oh
that's
yeah,
massively
yeah,
changed.
yes, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then I would say like excuse me, like the North Shore area with like the Science Center and those kind of things, I think is a really, really cool area
Yep,
too.
I agree.
The Science Center is I love that area, but there's also like the Natural History Museum, the aviary. I haven't been to the aviary yet, but the Natural History
That's
Museum
nice.
is really cool.
Yep.
The zoo is really neat. I mean, like just that kind of air, that stuff around there is just really cool to visit in Pittsburgh.
Um, for anybody who has not seen an incline before, there should be a video of it. One of our lug members actually has made a working incline model. I
Yep.
believe if you go on the Steel City Log Instagram page, you should see somewhere on there. There should be a working model of it. So go check that out. It's awesome. I mean, literally is a depiction of the real life thing. So
Just
check
a
that
bit
out as well.
smaller.
Yeah, just a tad smaller, but yeah, yep. So okay, all right. Let's get into some Lego chat here.
All right.
And
My favorite subject.
yes, well, that's what I was gonna say. We're in the Lego realm, so let's get into the Lego chat here. So
Yep.
I'm gonna rewind you again here, back to being little.
All right.
So most important question I always ask is, did you have Lego as a kid?
I did.
And if you did you have sets? Did you have bulk, or did you have a little bit of both?
It was mostly sets, but we kind of turned it into bulk.
Yep. Okay.
So we were big proponents of like, we had the instructions, we built it for the first time, and then just as like what you're supposed to do with Lego as a kid, tore it all apart, and we're like, all right, let's make our own thing.
Yep.
So most of what we had was space. We were just all into this, the
Okay.
space stuff. My brothers and I. So we each had our specific like era that we liked. Like my older brother had more of the classic space stuff. I had some of that, but I got more into the
Okay.
Futron and the Blacktron. My younger brother's more into the M-Tron stuff. So I
Okay.
mean, we all kind of had our thing. And again, some of that had to do with like our ages,
Yeah.
obviously.
Sure.
But that's what we did. We built the thing and we're like, oh, this is really cool. You play with it for a little bit, then it's like, all right, let's tear it apart. Let's do our own thing. So.
Yeah. Now, so since you mentioned that, so obviously the three brothers, so you guys played with Lego together. I'm,
Yep.
I'm assuming nicely played. Nobody ever fought over sets or anything like that. It was all nice playtime, correct?
It actually was. I mean, like
Oh, good. Okay. Okay.
yeah, we would have battles obviously
Yeah.
between each
Okay.
other and things like that. Like one of our things was my older brother started. He built this robot out of them, and like he had it with the Technic so that it could move and stuff like that. And we would have like one force arrayed against the other and blah 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 stuff like that. But like when it came to actually building and stuff, like we all knew what our sets were, and we were happy with the sets that we had. But
Okay.
we also helped each other. So like we had the big pile of Lego that was spread out, and whoever's set we were building, that person had the instructions and was like, okay, I need now. This is before we had Lego nomenclature.
Okay.
So like like where you have like, oh well, this is a tile, this is a plate. Our looking at it was, okay, so let's say you have a 2x1 gray plate, okay? We would say, it was like it's a 2x1 because it's easy to tell with the studs. Flat, or no, flat.
Yeah.
Okay, so a flat was a plate, a flat was a smooth plate, was a tile, and then just a 2x1 was a brick, a brick.
Yeah.
So like we just developed our own way of communicating as we're building. The other two are looking for the pieces and getting them, and like we would just
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, when your sister came around, were you guys still in the Lego phase at that point?
Yes.
And then did she join
Well,
in the building or?
Well, she was younger, so she more had like the Duplo and the Fabuland stuff. But as she got older, I mean, like she did more of the city stuff, because we did have some of the city things, and we actually had a good number of road plates, the old fashioned road plate things,
the actual plate ones.
Yes, yeah, the actual ones that had like the road on it. But we all, that's not a reason, we always made them under construction. I don't know, maybe it was because we lived in Pennsylvania, but everything was always under construction.
True to life.
Yep, true to life. But yeah, like a lot of that was city stuff, where she wasn't as interested in the space, at least at that age.
Sure.
So
okay. Now, did you guys did you hang on to your space sets?
Yes.
Or did they? Okay. So all three of you kept your stuff?
Yep. Well, my parents kept a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I have bits and pieces that I'm still trying to get together. Sure. Because I have like a box that has a lot of my Space Police in there.
Okay.
And I have some of my Blacktron, but some of it, because our parents held on to it, and then they gave it out, but it got mixed in and stuff like that. So my younger brother has some of my stuff. We just have to exchange and things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's like this. I have this, but I don't have the rest of it right now. This is the Cosmic Fleet Voyager, or what's currently of it. So but yeah.
The stuff that you kept, so was it just all, like you said, it was in totes, and so you guys have to kind of go through it and okay.
Yep.
Well, that's not often you hear about parents being so kind to hang on to the Lego for the kids, because most of the time, it gets sold in the garage sales or given away, or
that's where I've gotten a number of the hauls recently, is like parents are just like, my kids aren't interested, and I'm looking at the kids and they're like only 12 and 13 and stuff. I'm like, I was still into Lego then, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. See, I keep having this conversation though, pretty much with everybody I talk to though. Mm-hmm. You have to remember though that these kids now, they don't really know how to take a set and make it bulk. They just know how to look at the directions.
Right.
And then they're bored because that's it. Like you build it and that's it. Like there's nothing anymore for them to know, like, okay, well, I can take this apart. Now I can build my own creation out of it. Like that set is a set, in my opinion. Like that's so like when they're done with it, that's all you can do with it. Whereas like you said, when you guys were younger, you could do whatever whatever you wanted to with it. So,
well, the funny thing is, like I've noticed, like there's kind of been a trend with Lego where they're doing seemingly more and more of the 3-in-1 creator sets.
That's true.
To give you more of an idea of what you can do. And I was looking at some of the old, actually, can I get it? Oh, I'll have to do it a little bit later. I was looking on some of the old boxes, and the instructions actually are for some of these older sets, the older classic space sets. And if you look on the box, it actually has like printed, like, hey, with this set, you can do this. There's no instructions for it. But they give you ideas of like, oh, hey, try this, or whatever, something different to do. So it's like they were already kind of preparing for kind of like doing 3-in-1s or whatever, or just to give ideas of like, like this is the set, but you can do more.
Yeah. Well, I know, and that's like my son's gotten a couple of the 3-in-1s, and like I noticed that with him. Like he's very creative,
Mhm.
and he likes to build his own creations. But when we open the sets, like they come in the numbered bags. But when you do the 3-in-1s, it's like, okay, just open all the bags and dump them out, and then you
Yep.
have to decide. And so like when you see a set, like you think you're getting a set, and then when it says open all the bags, your mind kind of goes to like, what am I supposed to do here? Like,
Right.
am I building my
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
or am I building one of those three things? So,
Well,
um, it's good though, in my opinion.
it is. It's funny too, looking at some of the older instructions as I've built some of the more classic space ones that I've gotten, or gotten from halls and things like that. And I look at the instructions and things, and I'm like, man, they don't do anything. Like the instructions are extremely
Yeah,
simple, and they don't like outline where the next
yeah,
pieces are supposed
yeah,
to
yeah,
go. They don't even show you which pieces are next. They're like, there you go.
yeah,
That's what's next. And it's like you have to figure it out. That was
yeah,
kind of part of the
yep,
fun, you know.
yep.
And then as slowly over time, even in like the Space Police ones, they didn't outline things. They didn't show the piece count. But the instructions looked a little better, so it was a
Sure.
little easier to tell. But in some of those old ones, man, the one old castle set that I have that I was putting together, I'm like, all this gray, it's very difficult to tell what's going where.
Oh, come. Well, you're as a Star Wars guy, you should be like, a
It's
pro
way
with gray.
way easier to do that now. I mean, like they outline in red the different
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pieces where they're going,
yep,
and it's like this is nothing.
yeah.
You have numbered bags. What is that?
No,
We
I mean,
didn't.
I tell you, these young whippersnappers nowadays, they don't know what we
Mhm.
struggled through.
Yeah, there was no numbered bags, and I have to say the boxes were really
Yeah.
cool too because like they had like clear, so you could like actually sit, like you would open the box and you could actually see inside, and they had like little bubble type things and stuff where
Oh,
the
okay.
different
I don't remember
bags were.
those.
Oh yeah, yeah, and like I said, I have one of the boxes here that's like from one of the original,
Okay.
actually from the original base, the original space base
Okay.
that they did, and yeah, it's got those in there. It's pretty neat.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's another controversial topic nowadays is the boxes. Like,
Yeah,
kind of boring,
like the older boxes I will keep, but most of the newer boxes, unless it's a good sized box that like it's like I can put other boxes
Yeah.
into that I may want to keep for stuff.
Yep.
Like my Death Star that's up over here, I have the box and the manual; they're all together and everything like that.
Okay. Yep.
Most of the things, like yeah, it's just like anymore. It's like I just don't have room. I don't need the box.
Yep.
Pitch it.
Nah. Hey, I mean, you gotta prioritize. Would you rather want more
Yeah,
room for sets or more room for boxes? So,
I don't even have room for sets right now.
well, you do have a lot going on there, and we're gonna get into that. But before I do that, so did you have a Dark Ages? What was your Dark Age period if you had one?
I did. When I hit college, and it's pretty much right when I hit college
Okay.
because I mean things got really busy because marching band, and just getting started, So right when I exited high school and into college, Lego kind of stopped for me,
Yep.
and pretty much all through college it did.
Okay.
I was not. I didn't even look at Lego from what I can
Okay.
remember. Like, there was nothing that I was looking for or that I found interesting. And it's kind of an interesting period for Lego too, because that's right before Bionicle and
Mm,
stuff came out, when Lego was
okay.
kind of like on a
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
slope
Yep.
downward. So that might be one reason why I didn't really, see anything that I was really interested in.
Okay.
And then, I graduated and I happened to see, being a fresh out of college student, like money was like
Yeah.
didn't have much.
Yep.
And I happened to see like, oh, they came out with a giant X-Wing. It's like, that's kind of cool. Now
Uh-oh.
I never got it. That was like
Okay.
one of those ones that like I missed,
Yeah. Sure.
unfortunately. But that got me thinking like, ooh, what else are they going to
Okay.
come out with? And so I started paying attention now.
Yep.
So then whenever the TIE Interceptor came out, I jumped on that and I was like, yep, I'm going to pick that
Okay.
up.
So that was your first set back then, the tie
That was my first big one. I
Okay.
had gotten a couple little tiny sets. Like I have like up on my shelf over here, I have like the original X-Wing that they came out
Yeah.
with. So
Okay.
I got a couple little sets when they were first coming out with those.
Okay.
And episode 1 was coming out at the same time. So I got a few of those, but not a lot. I was mostly focused on like these big sets are really cool.
Yeah, they still are the big
Yep, yep,
sets.
yep, yep. And they're getting bigger and more expensive.
Yeah, yeah, gosh, yeah. That's the truth. We'll see what the year brings. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
so
yeah.
as far
Keep saving your points for the Death Star. Yeah.
yeah, it's the 4-digit stuff. It's coming. So,
It's
uh,
coming. Yeah.
so then as far as your personal collection, so
Mhm.
would you say you're all Star Wars, or do you dabble into other themes as well?
I started off being all Star Wars because that's, I mean, again, affordability was one thing. I was like, I'm going to focus on like one set a year. I'm not playing with them anymore,
Sure.
so I don't
Yeah.
need the play sets really. I mean, I got a couple again, just be like little
Yeah.
display things and stuff. Um, totally, totally fine with that. But I'm like one a year because that's what they did at the start was the UCS sets,
Yeah.
with one a year, and I was like, these are cool. So I got the TIE Interceptor. I got the original Rebel Blockade Runner.
Okay.
I got the first Star Destroyer, which is an awful piece because the magnets are bad. But like I was like, this is my focus. I'm gonna do, and it wasn't every year. It was like every year and a half or something like
Okay.
that they were doing these, and and then they started coming out with like two a year, and I'm just like, I can't do this. I mean, like I can afford more, but I just can't.
Yeah.
But then right around that time, they started doing like the icons,
Yep.
and so there were a couple of them like Voltron. Voltron was like when they came out with Voltron, I was like, yep, I got to get that. That's just insanely cool. And some of the other ones that they've come, and then they changed from icons to ideas or back and forth. I forget which way. It
Yeah.
was either
Yeah.
ideas, all of. But I started dabbling in those because I'm like, oh, those are kind of cool too, and they were also bigger sets, so I was like still sticking with kind of the theme of bigger is better, I guess. And then things like they came out with like the Pac-Man arcade, the Nintendo thing. So it's like they very much I still stuck with the Star Wars because I have kept up with
Sure.
most of them. But yeah, I've dabbled into other things, and then as I got into the lug, then I started getting even more into stuff of doing my own because
Yep.
up to that point I just sets. That's all I was doing.
Sure. Yeah. And so we're going to talk about some of that stuff that you've been doing on your own because you got some impressive things going on. So let's get into trying to think what I want to bring up first. Let's go with your Hoth display. So if you want to give
Okay.
everybody pretty much a rundown of what that's all about, kind of like the planning process that went into it, amount of time it took you to build it. Just let us hear about it.
So I've been with Steel City Lug for over 3 years now. I started October of 2021 or 2022, 2022, I think.
Yep.
No, 2021. And my first display was I had just maybe it was 2021 because that's when the AT-AT came out.
Yes.
So I oh wait no wait hold on let me think no 2022 yeah. So it was in 2021 when the AT-AT came out, and that's when I started streaming.
Okay.
And then I joined the Lug that next year, and the first thing that I displayed at was at BrickFest Live, and I didn't know what a display was.
Yeah.
Like I had seen plenty of people that had done displays, but like me myself, I'm like I don't know what I'm going to do. So I had an AT-AT. I stuck it there, because it was the big thing. No one else had it, at the thing. I didn't have base plates or anything or a lot of brick, so I just used like fake cottony snow type stuff to be like snow.
Yeah.
Got a couple troopers from Bob, who I just met that day.
Okay.
Kevin brought his shield generator, which I had just met him that day and stuff. And we put it at the end. And I was like, all right, there's our Hoth battle. It's just like whatever. I was like, okay, that's cool. Whatever. And so that's what I displayed. That's what I had, and I think I brought the TIE Interceptor and one other thing that was like kind of over there, but like my main display was just like a little pretend Hoth diorama, type of thing, and it was cool. And then didn't do much with it after that until the fall. What was it that year? Yeah. So that later that year, was it that year? No, I think it was the next year. One of the guys said when we were getting ready to do Winter Trolley, they're like, hey, you know what? It would be really cool if we did like half like the normal winter trolley scene with like the town and everything like that,
Okay.
and then the other half, let's just do Hoth. I was like,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So, and at the time, I still only had one big giant AT-AT, so we got some of the smaller ones to help. And yeah, Tim built a wall and everything, and we had like like the doors and everything, and we got snow speeders and everything, and we just played around with it. And we're like, oh, this is kind of cool. And after that, it was kind of like we should do more with this. Let's see if this is something we could do as a big display.
Yep.
So that's when I started going really into the whole mock building.
Okay.
Because instead of just having the base plates out, because that's all we did. We just had a bunch of base plates,
Yep.
put some random bricks on them and stuff. But it worked. It wasn't huge or anything, but it was a decent size. But we really changed the dimensions of it, and got it to like where Tim and I just worked together. He worked on the base side of it. I did the snowfield part of it, and we got ourselves organized in a way that like I have the snowfield. It's like 7 base plates by 6 base plates, so that's like 42 base plates. Yep. It has a track on it, so that, like the speeder goes around one of the legs of the walker like it should. There's bunkers for the rebels. There's explosions everywhere, and Tim has like he's got the doors they can slide open and close. They're not automatic yet.
Okay.
But, that's something we're thinking about. The different areas for the base where like we actually have it in such a way that like it's modularized on the sides, so like anyone could like we could say, hey, here's the dimensions of a room, build a room, and we'll put it in there, yep. And just you could do like you could do like a dance thing or something like that. And then like, but there's plenty of room for the hangar for like the snow speeders. Okay. We have we had the UCS Falcon in there the one time just because it's cool and massive. And then we use the smaller one because it's just easier to transport. Yep. So, but that's been about a 3-year project. It's still going on. We're working on other things too. And we're kind of slightly changing gears as we're doing that, but there's still a lot more that has to that we're going to be doing to expand even more on it. So
okay. Now, if I remember correctly, Hoth was down in Virginia.
Yes.
Last August, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Is that on your YouTube or Instagram?
It is. Yes. And okay. It'll be on. Yeah, it's on several things. Like it was at Winter Trolley this past year, that's and right. So okay. It'll be in like the videos on Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah, and there's definitely I did a bunch of walkthroughs. Every time I go to a convention, I do a walkthrough or two. Just just depends. Okay. And it's a lot of fun to show everything that's there. But yeah, it's neat to see to have Hoth and have like a big display.
Yeah. All right. So if anybody's interested in seeing Hoth, again, go on Johnny's YouTube or the Steel City Lug page. And you'll see his walkthroughs at look for Brick Fair, Virginia, or it's called Winter Trolley, which is an event we do at the Trolley Museum up here in Pittsburgh. But you can check it out there. It is awesome. I have not seen it in person yet because I missed Winter Trolley. So that's a goal of mine to see it. So I'm excited to see it in person.
You will. Yeah. You're not going to Brick Fair this year, but we're going to have half of it there. Like we're going to have the wall and then the snowfield, but that's it. Like we're not doing the whole hangar thing because Tim's bringing some other stuff for Brick Fair. But yeah, it's still going. There's going to be more explosions. I'm actually going to be adding lights to it now. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
I will say you have become quite the attraction with not only the ideas you come up with, but also the movement and the lights. You have brought all the elements in for displays that you do. So it definitely catches the eyes at shows. So.
Well, thank you. I like doing because I like the movement. I think it's cool, and I also think it's a challenge.
Yeah. Yep. So now, what other than Hoth, any other projects that you have in the works, Star Wars or anything else?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm gearing up to build one of my white whales, which is the UCS Battle Event, or not Battle of Endor, Ewok Village. Okay. And I actually have 2 of them. They're not complete, but I got them in hauls from people, and now I've kind of taken them and combined them into one that works, and then the other one is kind of like it's got most of the elements but not everything.
Okay.
And so May the 4th has always been a big one for me. Whenever they come out with the smaller UCS set, I usually buy that and then I build it, on May the 4th.
Okay.
This year, unfortunately, Lego is pricing me out of getting the Jango Fett Slave
Sure.
One as much as I would kind of like to because I don't have a big one, a
Sure.
big
Sure.
Slave One. It's $300, and the smaller UCS sets have always been like between 180 and 240. So I'm like, what am I going to do instead? So said, I decided, well, I was getting it done anyway because I'm going to be working on a giant Battle of Endor, and this is going to be part, the Ewok Village is going to be
Yep.
part of it. So I was like, well, it makes sense. Why don't I get it started on May 4th,
Okay.
and then I'll just I'll finish it up.
So that's going to
So
be how size wise in relation if you compared what that's going to be compared to Hoth, how much of a difference is it going to be?
it'll probably actually be as the same size as of the
Okay.
snowfield. So probably seven in the front and six deep. And like I'm already kind of orienting how I like, it's like trees are gonna go here, bunker will be here,
Okay.
like where the different things are gonna be. And when you talk about movement, this one is going to be even more
Wow.
intense.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
I'm planning to use the Mindstorms, the
Oh
EV3
yeah.
that I had, and I want to make the logs come down the hill.
Okay.
I'm going to make the logs
That'll
dong,
be
into
cool.
the
Yep.
ATST. Yeah, I've got lots of ideas. I'm going to
Okay.
have to spend more on some motors and things like that to make it all work. But I think it's going to be really cool. I'm already kind of figuring out, and that's one of the first things I'll be doing
Okay.
while I wait for the finishing pieces to come in to make it look good.
Sure.
I'm going to start working on the innards of like, all right, this is where things are going to go, how they're going to move and stuff, and then I can
Okay.
build around that.
Okay. All right. Well, so it sounds like your summer's going to be pretty tied up.
No.
Well, now remind me. So where do you so the builds obviously they come in pieces, correct? So
Yes.
where do you store them, or do you this one of the other guys have them in storage somewhere?
I have so for Hoth I have all the because all the base
Yeah.
plates come apart.
Yeah. Okay.
I know where they go because I have a numbering system built into them,
Okay.
and so I know how they're oriented, and they go into these bins that are collapsible bins, but they fit like I think like 20-ish of the base plate, of the mill's base
Okay.
plates, and so like two of them they're filled and they fit, so they're
Okay.
easy to carry.
Yeah.
And then the AT-ATs are apart. They're in one big giant bin, and everything else is in another bin, and it pretty much,
Okay.
carries.
I have not seen your carry system for that either, so I'll have to.
Well, if you go to Erie this year, whenever we have that,
Okay.
you'll see all that too. So
Are you bringing any of the big stuff for the event we have going on in
yeah, then we have
November? Is that November? October?
oh yeah, yeah. I'm not so. A couple years ago, no, 2 years ago at International Lego Day, I did a world record attempt
Oh,
of
that's right. Yep.
getting the Millennium
Yep, that's
Falcon.
right.
Did not make it for a couple reasons, but when November rolls around and we're doing our event, I'm actually going to do a world record setting of building the AT-AT.
Okay. All right.
So that's going to happen. But yeah, I'll have some of the bigger stuff there. I
Okay.
don't know if we're going to bring Hoth to that. I might because it would be the only time we would be displaying the full Hoth like in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Like we've never done
Okay.
that.
Yep.
So we might do that. We haven't talked about it yet. So,
Okay.
but
Uh,
it might.
it's funny you brought that up because I was gonna ask you about that. Right before, so I was not in the log yet at that point. Um,
Okay.
and when we came out to International Lego Day, I remember my son Bryce. We had watched you a couple times on YouTube,
Oh,
and
okay.
when we found out that you were doing that, he was so excited because he was like, "Maybe I can be on YouTube." And I remember going up to where you were building, and he's like, "I'm going to go run around the other side so I can be on camera." And so he runs around. so, so you could see him in the back. I was just like, Bryce, come on, man.
He's probably like, woohoo!
But
That's awesome.
I remember that, and I felt bad because if I remember correctly, you weren't feeling well. First of all, correct?
I had been sick the week before,
Yeah.
and like I was still not quite all there, but I'm like, you know what? I set this up with Guinness
Yeah.
World
Yeah.
Records, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go for it, and what happens happens. And for the first 6 hours, I was doing really good.
Yeah.
Like
You were.
I was at pace. I was above pace. I was doing really well, and then it's just like I hit a wall, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
everything just like slowed down. And I was like, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just kind of lost it there.
Well,
So
the other thing that you know, when you're in a log and you're at an event, like you feel an obligation to talk to people, and people are coming
oh
up
yeah.
to you like, how much, you know, what are you on? How much time's left? Even though there's a
Hmm.
massive clock, you know,
Hmm.
saying how much time's left. And you know, you're the type of person that you have the personality that you're going to talk to them.
Right.
And so it's you don't want to say, you don't want to put blame on other people, but I definitely think that was a downfall, is that people were trying to carry on conversations and you're trying to focus on building. So
And I
no
even
way
had
anybody else's fault, but
right.
it's,
Oh
you know.
no, for sure. And the thing is, I love to interact with people as I'm
Yeah.
building too. And I've noticed a number of YouTubers that do like similar to what I do, like build and for a stream. A lot of times when it comes to like talking to people, they have to
Yeah.
pause,
Yeah.
what they're doing and like focus and be like, okay, well, I need to answer this question and stuff. And for some reason, I have the knack of being able to be like, I can build this. Well, okay, this is what you're saying. Okay, yeah, da, 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 da. And I can my thought process can go while I'm looking and getting pieces, putting them together, and
Yep.
everything like that. But even with that, like doing something like a world record, like even just doing that little bit still does slow you down some.
Yep.
So we even had on the signs, we were like, world record attempt. I'm sorry, I'll talk to you if I can, but more than likely, it's unfortunate that I'm going to be, working on this. We had though, it was funny. Krista, one of our lug members, she was like the one that was kind of overseeing everything to make sure I was putting, all the pieces were good and
Yep.
everything like that. So she had to be kind of like the independent judge, and I forget what part I was working on, but like a lot of the Falcon had been done. It was sitting on the landing, struts and everything. And this guy came over with his son, and his son went to go touch it, and his dad's like, "Oh no, 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 you can't do that. That would mess things up." And right after he said that, he went in to go reach to like almost like to touch it. And Krista and I paused and like Krista, we're like, bro, both looking at this guy like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I just wanted to admire it. It's like back there.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I,
Like if he had touched it, that would have just ruined everything,
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, oh man.
Yeah, I remember because I had like so I wasn't a member, but I was, or wait, maybe I wasn't. No, I think I was a member because I reached out to Krista, because you remember I was
Oh yeah,
asking
yeah,
for the cups for the Lego Club.
yeah, yeah.
And so I remember, because I didn't want to bother you, I kept texting Krista. I was like, "Where is he? How far along is he?"
Right. Yeah.
Well, so
Well,
that's
and that's what
exciting. So
everyone was doing.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
everyone like. Kevin was like, "Oh, I'm going to so mess you up. I'm going to hide pieces." I'm like, "Don't you dare!"
All right, so then, so this coming, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Is it November or October, our
It's
show?
November.
November.
It's
Okay.
November.
All right. So if anybody's coming out, or if anybody wants to visit the city of Pittsburgh, the Steel City Lug, we
Yep.
are having a show in partnership with the Ultimate Brick Show.
Yep.
So that will be November. I forget the dates. I'll obviously post about it on Instagram, but
Yeah.
we, I think it's maybe the second weekend or third weekend it's before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It's right in the middle somewhere. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, if anybody wants to visit Pittsburgh, both of us, we will be there. And then Johnny will be doing the attempt for the Guinness World Record for the AT-AT build. So that'll be exciting to watch. So,
I'm surprised, no, because I keep looking online and like no one's done it yet, and I'm like, okay, I'll do
well,
it.
so then does that mean it's automatically your record then?
I mean, as long as it officially like as long as they review all the materials and stuff, and they say it was legitimate, then I guess I don't know.
Interesting.
I've never done a
Okay.
world. I've never gotten a world record. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
yep,
Well, that'll be something exciting to watch then. So,
yep. And then what happens is I get to like be nervous and be like, oh, someone else is trying it. Hopefully, I did good enough.
then you're going to keep checking, every so often to see if anybody else attempted it. Yeah.
Yep,
Well,
yep.
then you'll just have to do it again if somebody beats the time.
I guess I'm gonna make my first time be the best I
Yeah.
possibly can.
Yep. Yep. So let's talk a little bit about your since we're talking about the live streams here, YouTube. So
Okay.
what got you interested in starting a YouTube? And with that, what was your original vision for the page? And are you where you thought you would be?
So I actually, so what my stream is now, I started it about not quite 3.5 years
Yeah.
ago. And again, when the AT-AT came out, I
Yep.
did, that's kind of when I first started streaming. But prior to that, I actually streamed, like a year and a half previous to that, I actually started streaming, building Voltron.
Oh, okay.
Um, and and I did not like, just for whatever reason, as I did it, I played around with things and stuff like that, and I was like, you know what, I don't know enough about, not necessarily, like personality wise, but like the technology
Yeah.
wise, like I need to research
Yep.
this more because I, for whatever reason, I just did not like how it ended out or
Yeah.
ended up, and
Sure.
like how it was turning out. So I stopped streaming for that year. And then when the AT-AT was coming out, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to plan and start. I think it would be cool to stream. And my vision, and it's kind of what has continued to be my vision, was, well, I'm going to buy this giant monstrosity. Most people are not going to be able to do
Sure.
that. So I want to show them what, what it is,
Okay.
and like what's involved with it. Even though they won't be able to personally
Yeah.
do it,
Yep.
they can kind of see what goes into it, how difficult of a build it is. And in fact, there were some parts of it, like when I was first putting the head in onto the neck, I had one of the things backwards, did not realize it. And I like sitting there for about 5 minutes. I'm like, why won't
Yeah.
this go in there? And it was like, oh, this is my fault. So, um, but yeah, that was kind of my initial vision of everything, was to say, hey, not everyone can afford
Yeah.
these things. I happen to be in a place where I can. And, you people, whenever we do this, and I wasn't part of the lug
Okay.
then. So like displaying wasn't in my
Sure.
mind of being like, oh, I could go somewhere and then people could actually see them up close,
Yeah.
the things that I've built. So initially it was just like, oh, just showing people what goes into it, and those kind of things. And I think, I don't know, like I wasn't planning to be anywhere,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
I like, it's cool. I love getting subscribers. I love, it's,
Yeah.
great. I'm not looking to make money
Yeah.
off of this. Um, I get really upset whenever I see other content create, and you know who I'm talking about. When I see other content creators that are like, here, we just want to grow the channel as fast as we can. We're just going to buy a bunch of sets and give them away, and then we get popular and blah blah blah. And I've done a couple giveaways here and there, but I don't do that sort
Yeah.
of thing. I just
Yep.
think it's cheap, and like I focus on what the content of the stuff is supposed to
Yeah.
be, of like, making things interesting, hopefully.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like if someone doesn't like it, hey,
Yeah.
sorry. But yeah, and that's kind of where my focus has been. And now I'm coming up on 200 episodes, so there will be some giveaways and other fun things hopefully coming in the next couple
Okay.
of weeks. But like that's not my focus.
Sure.
I want to have fun. And my thing is too, whenever I'm streaming and there's people in the chat and everyone's talking, like this past Tuesday we had like 10, 11 people that
Mhm.
were in the chat, and we're just talking
Yep.
about stuff. It's like, and it didn't have to be Lego. It was like, hey, well, what's going on in your life?
Yep.
Blah blah blah, and just talking about whatever. And that's interesting. That's fun. I want to know what you're building. What are you interested in? Oh, look, we ended up making something that was cool. All right, which one are we getting? So, for instance, I did the Endor Heroes,
Oh yeah.
which is the 5
The
brickheads,
brickheads. Yep.
and so basically it's like I started with the first one. It was kind of random. I was like, I want to build R2 first,
Yep.
and then like after that, it's like, who should I build next?
Sure.
Ask them.
Yep.
Get them involved, and that sort of it. Just fun things like that, because well, I love building, and I can build alone, sure, but it's way more fun when other people are able to share it.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, that's one thing I always noticed when I come on your what do we call it? You call them lives on YouTube? Is that what you call them? Like
Yes, yeah,
streams, streams,
the
live.
live
Yeah,
streams, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I always noticed you always have a tight knit group. Like they're
Mhm.
always like you don't have a lot of like random comments. Like everybody just kind of like flows, and so it's like
Yeah.
you have a core. Obviously, you have new people coming in, but
Mhm.
like it seems like you have a core that like you guys just talk like normal
Yeah.
people, and like we don't get to see, and that's what I like about doing lives myself is like
Mhm.
you have that core, but then you have like the new people that stop in and then
Right.
they become part of the core, and it's really neat to watch
Yeah.
that core grow. And then like you kind of become like part of their lives too, and like they'll
Yeah.
ask you like, "Oh, how did that go?" And
Mhm.
then you're like, "How did that go?" And it's just a really neat dynamic
Yeah.
to have with people that luckily with technology we can have that kind of dynamic now because you can't be with everybody.
Right.
So um
And I like to think that when I do like when I do builds and stuff live, like in person, very similar idea. It's like because I like kids come up and they're like, "Oh, where what are you doing?" and stuff like that. And yeah, I tell them first thing, this is what I'm building, blah blah, or what does it look like? Like when I
yep.
was building Pikachu, at
Oh yeah.
International,
Yep.
it's like, look, he looks like a giant bowl right now, and it's like, well, what do you like to build?
Yep.
It's like I like to engage with everyone else and be like, what interests you, because that's kind of part of the fun. It's like it's not just me, it's you're part of this too
Yep.
now. So
I believe you mean lightning mouse, by the way.
lightning, yeah, that is correct. Electric mouse,
Or
electric
electric.
mouse. Yeah, they didn't even call it lightning. They said electric mouse. So
Oh, so one thing I never did ask you on the YouTube streams, um, did you because you obviously you put the clock on when you start building.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
there what was the idea behind that? Is it like to see how long it takes you to build, or like do you have a reason for why you put that timer on?
Part of it is just it's kind of like to myself of like, oh, how long did it take me?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a personal thing, but at the same time, like I started that back with the AT-AT because I'm like, well, how long is it going to take to actually build this thing? With how
Okay.
big it is,
Yep.
and building it the very first time from one first piece to the end was roughly about 15 hours, and I
Okay.
was like, well, that's pretty cool. And like because I used that, again, I was streaming. It was my very first real streaming and figuring things out, but I got it done in about 15 hours. And then I started looking online at what other people were doing. And they're like, oh, this thing took me 22 hours and stuff like that. I'm
Okay.
like, I
Okay.
build faster than I realize,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yep.
so I started incorporating that a little bit more into what I do because I'm like, well, I mean, I'm not going for a world record. I'm not
Sure.
trying to like be like, oh, rushing it, but like my natural tendency is to be able to build as I
Okay.
talk and things like that. So it's like
Yep.
let's just see what happens, see what I can do. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I thought it had something to do with that, but I didn't know if maybe there was something else involved there. But that makes sense because that's a good way to kind of gauge where you're at,
yeah,
for those attempts. Because even though it's not the same set, like some of the smaller sets are just as or can be just as complex. So
right, yeah,
all right. So this year, so obviously we had International Lego Day, so you set up there.
hmm
Home and Garden Show, we were set up with the log there.
yeah.
What other shows, conventions you plan on attending this year?
Well, we don't have much coming up until I think it's in May. We've got excuse me, the not Carnegie, the Cranberry Library,
Yep.
and then we've got this whole Mars New Year thing coming up
Saw
that's
that.
looking
Yeah.
interesting. Oh, and of course, I'm forgetting the very most important thing. Because I skipped right over it, not even thinking. May the 4th. So
Yep.
I'm also a member of the 501st.
Yes. Okay.
And normally on May the 4th, I and many other members, like about 45 of us, dress up and go to the Pirates
Yep.
game. And we interact with all the people and stuff like that. But you happen to contact someone at the Pirates and are like, hey, Star Wars Day.
Yep.
We could show some Star Wars Lego stuff. And who has a lot of Star Wars Lego?
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
I'll be switching gears for
Yeah.
that. And like, I know we got to get the
Yep.
logistics figured out, but I'm excited to like just be like, hey, maybe I'll bring both AT-ATs and the foul, or, whatever, and just like let's see what we can set up and have fun with, and like people can look at.
Well,
So
yeah, like I said, there's some things in life that you just can't pass on,
yep,
regardless of
yep,
anything else. And this is
yep.
an opportunity that just we can't pass up. So
No,
you
I
you were the guy
agree.
for it.
Yeah.
So
Yep, and I'm excited for
yeah,
it. So
yep.
yeah,
And
well, yeah,
it'll be
once
here
this,
before you know it too.
yeah, I know it's only a month away. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
yeah, yeah, we're already tomorrow is April 4th, so
Yeah,
I'll be like we're exactly a
literally
month.
a
So
month.
yeah,
Yeah,
hmm
that's crazy, man.
yeah,
All right, so yeah, so then Cranberry, which is a city near us, so we do library, work with their library over there, and then the Mars, which we have a lot of space names here in Western PA. We have Moon,
yep.
we have Mars. What else we got? Any other Saturn, Neptune? I don't think we. I think that's
No,
about it, Rick.
those are the main ones. The other ones are kind of difficult
Yeah,
to come up with, but there are lots of places that are kind of like aptly or like spacey-ish type. But it's just Pittsburgh. Like we have just weirdly named things.
and
So,
we do have a lot of things that are hard to pronounce
oh yeah,
city-wise as well.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
You try to say my name, the Halo
yeah.
River.
All right. So you got that, and then is there anything in July?
July, not that I know of.
'Cause I
July
think
is
it's
kind of
quiet.
hard. Most of June, aside from like the beginning, and most of July, and that's mainly because that's when the big conventions are starting to happen.
That's
Like you
true.
got Chicago, I think is
Yep.
in the mid-July. I forget what's in June, but
That's
there's a couple
Chicago's, yeah,
different.
Brick World's June, and then something's
Oh, okay,
July.
all right,
Yeah, and then Brick
yeah, yeah,
Fair. You're going to Brick Fair, right, in Virginia?
yes, yeah. And
Okay.
Brick Fair is right at the
Yep.
beginning of August, so
Okay. And
yeah.
then
So
Erie's in September.
Erie's in September. I think the first weekend they switched it again, which I'm not happy about, but we'll make do.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and that one's a fun one. I love that one because it's with the Erie Comic Con,
Oh,
and so
that's
like
right.
they have the Comic Con has the main area. We have now taken over pretty much the entire other wing
Oh, nice. Okay.
as of last year. So like we have more builders coming in and stuff and
Okay.
showcasing. It was a ton of fun last year. Lot of great interactions with
I have
people.
to look
So
into that one this year because that obviously from us that's only what about 2 hour, two and a
about
half
two
hour
hours.
drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And it is so worth it. It's just a lot of fun. There's a lot of people, and last year was really the first year that people were coming up to us and they're like, "We came here for this. We didn't come for the Comic
Oh,
Con. We'll
okay.
go see it, but we came here for the bricks." And we're like,
Oh,
"Oh, that's cool."
interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. And then then we pretty much wrap the year off with our new show this year in November. And
With our new show, and then back to and we also we'll have Fall
oh,
Trolley
that's
in
right.
that.
Yep.
Um, I heard inklings from from our member that helps out with the trolley stuff that maybe we would do a spring trolley, but then I never heard anything. So maybe that's something for
Okay.
next year. I don't know. But yeah, they're definitely interested in getting us to do more.
I mean, I think it's a big attraction.
It's a gorgeous
Yeah.
facility. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's it. I mean we're pretty much like we're doing stuff, the lug's doing stuff all year. I mean there's just
yeah,
always events going on. I know I haven't had a chance to attend a lot of them, but yeah, I mean you're pretty much at a lot of the bigger ones if I'm not mistaken, or
correct.
not even all the
Yeah,
big ones, but you're at a lot of them. So
yeah.
yeah, so obviously that's going on, and then so again just a reminder, the world record in November, so we'll look forward to that. Anything else you want to share with the Instagram community that I didn't?
How much time?
As much you got something to share, you share. It's your night.
Well, uh, nothing. I mean, like Instagram. It's kind of funny because like Instagram is not obviously not my
Yeah.
forte. I've
Yep.
been more of the YouTube. Though I have been starting to post a little bit more, especially as I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll start taking more pictures of like what I'm planning, what I'm working on, and that sort of thing, and then posting them up there. Because obviously YouTube is not kind of a format for like, oh, just pictures,
Yeah.
or whatever. So for me, it's a different format, especially since I was doing YouTube for so long, and then I slowly got kind of into this as it got bigger. Um, but yeah, just stay
Yeah.
tuned, I guess, because there's going to be a lot coming down the pipe. There's going to be a lot of experimentation,
Sure. Yeah.
lots of failures as I've tried to figure out the mechanics behind some of these things. But
That
for
wouldn't
indoor,
if you don't fail in Lego building, you're not doing it right,
oh,
correct?
I agree. And maybe I mean like some of my streams may end up being one of the guys that has been not a mentor but like one of the guys I kind of like followed
Hmm.
when I first started and started really getting things going. I kind of emulated what he did
Okay.
and how he was doing his builds and stuff. Is his name is Ben. It's Ben's
Oh, yeah.
Brick Design
Okay.
on YouTube, and he's actually the lug leader in Austin.
Okay.
And a lot of his stuff, like he does a lot of planning and things in Bricklink Studio now, or just Studio now, I guess
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And that's something I need to get into more.
Sure.
I've done a tiny bit with it, but like to be able to start planning some of these bigger things, I mean, I love to just grab the
Yeah.
stuff and start building and putting things together. Like I did that with my spider a couple years ago. I'm like,
Oh,
well,
that's
I'm
right.
going to make a spider,
Yep.
and I did it in a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I need to do more planning, those kind of things and stuff to like to make it a little bit more efficient, I guess. But
Well, that's what
there
they
might be
tell you.
there might be some streams about that, like my journey to figure out how to do more of that. I mean, I've done AutoCAD; it's very similar, but
Yeah. Okay.
it's still different. So
Okay. Yeah. There's so much stuff you can do.
yeah,
And I think that's things that people actually enjoy. Like,
hmm
especially like I'm just speaking from, for myself here, but it's nice to see the end product, but it is
yes,
really nice to see the work that goes into it. Because that's not something you get to see every day. Like, you just go to the Lego store, you see the box, you see the pieces, but you don't get to see the pieces being made. You don't get to see the thought
right,
process behind the set design. So I think that's stuff that people really enjoy. And it's not as common for that type
right.
of content to be seen.
I
So
I almost find a lot of that, and that's I kind of think that goes along with like the streams of like building things. It's like I like to see what goes into the
yep,
final product. Seeing the final product is great, obviously, but like what goes into like again, how to make a mechanic, like how do you make a speeder go around and make it so it
yeah,
works, and like, all right, what are you going to do with it now? Like, how are you going to make it so it has a tow cable that actually is going around,
yeah.
the legs of the ATAT, those kind of things.
Cool,
So
man. Is that in the
yeah,
works?
it is actually
Ooh,
that's another thing I've thought about, and like, how am I going to do? And some people have given me ideas
okay,
of things that we could use for it. I just haven't incorporated them yet.
okay.
Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, but it's definitely something in the works in the thought process. So
Okay. All
to
right.
always improve upon and make it a little bit more realistic,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, good. Good. I'm excited for that. Now you got my hopes up. So,
yeah,
uh, uh,
the ideas we have for it are kind of interesting.
okay.
So
All right. Well, I might ask you to give me some behind the scenes since I
oh
get to
sure,
be
yeah.
a lug member with you there. I think I'm privy to some of that stuff, right?
Absolutely. I don't mind anyone being like, "Hey, I'd like to come see."
Well, don't worry, I won't steal anything because I'm not that advanced. So, well, for anybody who is watching or rewatching this, make sure you head over to YouTube to follow Johnny over there. It's Jonnybuildz, Jonnybuildz. Wow, can't spell tonight. So Jonnybuildz on YouTube. Obviously, that is what he is over here as well. Um, Check out, like I mentioned, his Hoth display. It is on his YouTube page. Or you can go on see the walkthroughs he does at some of the lug events with some of the stuff the lug does. Or you can check out the Steel City lug. Obviously, Johnny's on there as well.
Yeah.
Check out the stuff he does. The group does. It's amazing stuff.
Did you want to see some of the builds?
Yeah, yeah, please. Yeah, what do you have here?
All right. Well, you had specifically asked. So let me get the phone out here.
I
You had
didn't ask
specifically asked for
for
this one.
anything,
So first, I'll show people what's behind me. This is one of my pride and joys
which I
here.
already complimented you on. There it is.
Yeah. So that is the Death Star 2. That is, I got that when it first came out because again, I was like, ooh, one set, every year and a half or whatever.
Retail pricing, right?
Yeah, well, retail price was like right around $300,
Okay.
something
Yeah.
like that, and it is worth way more than that now.
Oh yeah.
And it's all original, everything in there. There's even you can see it. The Star Destroyer is kind of floating there on the side.
Yep.
See if I can get my finger like right
Yep.
there.
Okay.
So
Oh yeah. Okay.
yeah,
That's crazy.
it's a
Oh
little hard to see
wow.
because
I didn't know that was
because
on
it
there.
yeah, it's a little hard to see because it's gray.
Well, yeah. Of course.
It
Yeah.
actually
That's
here, you know what? I'll bring it here. Let me flip around and actually, so there you can kind of see it better.
oh, look at that. I did not
Yeah.
know that was on there.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. See, you learn
Yep.
something new
And
every day.
and that's actually the executor. So
Okay. Yep.
that's the
Interesting.
Superstar Destroyer. So we'll come around here, and of course, this is like I said, this is my Vader costume
Oh,
actually,
nice. Okay.
and memorabilia and stuff
Yep.
like that. So I had mentioned this is what I started streaming with, and I will be taking him apart and redoing the stream essentially for it. But this is Voltron.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
He is a fantastic set, and the only thing I'm disappointed in him is that whenever you transform him, you have to rotate these
Okay.
of the black lion 90 degrees. It's
Okay.
annoying. You have to take them out, rotate them, and just so it works. Kind of a nuisance. Not that big a deal, but I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, they had to have been able to figure out some way that they could have made this work. So, because like all the joints and everything for like the lions and everything and the shoulder, like it's all
That's a
very
really
stiff.
cool set. I never really saw it up close before, but yeah, that is a really nice set. I like that.
It is. All the lines are, everything is posable. The legs can all like move and everything. They
Okay.
all separate, as they should. The wings fold
Okay.
down, like they
Yeah.
should. Yeah, it's a fantastic set. It is so good.
I didn't
So, and
realize
even like
it was like
his,
that. Okay.
yeah, his, I don't have it oriented right, but like his head, like the line, this is why the 90 degrees, but like his head actually goes up
Oh,
into there
okay.
and like, it's tilted down, but like, yeah, it's such a
Okay.
good set.
Now that I'm seeing this, I had heard of Voltron, but I never watched it. But now that like I'm thinking, like I was a big Power Rangers guy, there's not a lot of difference here, is there?
Guess who came first?
Yeah, well, I
Yep,
get
yep.
that. So yeah, knock
They,
off Power Rangers, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, I always say that people will argue that Bandai was first, and I'm like, nah, Voltron actually was first, but they all came from Japan. So
Yeah,
like the Megazoids and
yeah.
stuff, everything was all very similar because everyone's like, ooh, Japan just loved big monsters, so and big robots.
Godzilla,
So
where is he?
then, so my next one is going to be one of my absolute favorite sets, and
Okay.
that is the Mighty
Oh,
Bowser.
okay. We have some stories about Bowser here from International Lego
Oh,
Day.
oh yeah.
Would you
So
like
Bowser,
Would you like to share the once you make sure you share the display you put up at International Lego Day?
on the piano, you mean?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Oh yeah. Bowser, like when I got him, or when I first heard about him, and they showed what he could do, kind of,
Uh-huh.
it still wasn't as good as you can see in person.
Yeah. Yep.
And like he's a puppet. He is
Yep.
posable in like every way. Like his head moves, he can like make him turn, like his eyebrows, you can adjust them, his mouth, you can make him sing peaches, 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 peaches,
How many times I
like,
heard that at International Lego?
oh my word, yeah, everybody loved it because they're like it's like, what is it, the Mario movie, what does he sing, oh yeah, Bowser, he was my favorite set of the year that he
Yeah,
came out,
definitely one of
a
mine
few
too.
years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, he is fantastic. I love him. He has his own grand piano, so he gets to play it, so. All right. And then the special request one.
Yes.
This is the first one
There it is.
of Out of My Dark Ages.
Oh, that's a beaut.
Yeah. And it's so funny to look at it because it's not gray.
Yeah.
Like, there's a little bit of gray, like
Not
right here in the
much.
middle.
Yeah.
But you look at
Yep.
the
Yep.
pylons and it's black
Yeah.
and blue.
Yeah.
And that is the way they designed these things.
That's
And
not.
even like
That's not a Star Wars set. It's not gray.
Mhm. and like there's a TIE bomber and there's a TIE fighter. They're both in the same color
Uh-huh.
set. They're not as big because they weren't UCS, but the exact same color set and everything of where they had the black. And I don't know. I mean, I know they had the gray pieces because they had done other things, but it's like, why
Yeah.
did they do that? So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the original TIE Interceptor.
It's still it's
And
still a nice looking set.
it still is. It's still a great set. Here, I'll show you one of my favorite things in there. The shovels. You see the
Oh,
shovels
look
on
at that. Oh,
the
that's
end
awesome.
there?
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Huh. Parts
Yep.
usage. That's what we like to see.
That's exactly right. Yeah, they had a lot. Like they didn't have a lot of specialized pieces, but yeah. So,
That's
and
really
then
cool.
last but not least is one of my favorite sets also, from a year or so ago. And this is the Pac-Man set that has a lot of its own type of movement things, like little extra things, like you can make the ghosts.
Yep.
Now, Pac-Man is the ghosts. And the set, like the joystick, you
Yep.
can move that. You have the coin return here, which I've actually adjusted a little bit. and made it so it actually. So here's my coin. Here's my coin.
Oh, here we go.
So you actually goes in there. Oh, I want my coin back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Down there. And I do want to create a full cabinet here.
Okay. Yep.
So like it's actually up and like the whole thing. But this is what my wife got me for Christmas 2 years ago. So I'm gonna turn it on.
Yep. Gosh, it makes such a difference when you turn the lights on.
It is so incredibly cool.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
let's play a game. How about?
Oh, that's awesome. It's so crazy how just adding lights. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's so cool.
It just looks so cool.
It does.
Even on the camera, you know.
Yep.
Just yeah.
Yeah, it really brings you back like you're actually playing it.
And actually, I just realized I was going backwards.
Oh, wow.
But oh well.
Nobody was going to judge you. The camera's flipped. So.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, it's so crazy how much lights and movement really, and even sound, really do change a Lego set. Like it really brings it to life.
Right. So, yeah, it has to be just, and this kind of is what got me into like, hey, lighting is pretty cool,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
So, yeah. So
I love it. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Nice to see the TIE fighter there. There's a brickhead you just finished.
Yep. Minus Wicket because I gave that to my wife, so because he's cute. So
okay. Yeah.
I was actually really impressed with the brickheads because like if you look here, like the shininess of like R2's dome,
I heard
like it's all the shiny.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that the other night.
Yeah. That Londo's cool because he has like a full cape.
Okay. Yep.
Like they did a lot of good stuff. They all have a pink brain. So
really?
Yes,
that's
every
awesome.
single one of them has a pink, and they also every single one of them is like they ate something. Like Luke ate like something that was orange.
Okay.
She ate something that was green or something like their stomach has something in it too.
Well, that's funny. I'm on a brickheads journey now, and I'm gonna start a series here where I'm building brickheads.
Okay.
I didn't know there was some interesting things inside, so that'll make it even more fun to look forward to.
I don't know if the original brickhead started off that way,
Okay.
but it was part of the challenge that one of the designers' wives gave.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened? And this was a number of years ago. One of the designers' wives was like, "All the Star Wars stuff is gray," and he's like, "But that's what it is." And she's like, "Yeah, you should put something like pink in there." And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Tell you what, I'll bake you a cake if you can do that."
Okay.
And he's like, "Challenge accepted." So I forget what set was the very first one, but he did it. And so, like, she made a cake for all of them. And then they're all like, well, if we keep doing this, do we get cake? And she's like, sure. So that's kind of what happened. So
that's awesome.
I'll show you a little bit more of the room.
Oh, nice. Yep.
There's the blockade runner. Yep. Star Destroyer.
Oh, yeah. You definitely got the Star Wars stuff there.
But yeah, well, and here's the Pride and Joy right there.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Resting nicely.
Yep. Where it rests. That empty space. That's where the interceptor normally is.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And the start of my Transformers. Soundwave comes out this year. There's the DeLorean, A-Wing. Yeah. So
very nice.
Yes.
This is where the magic happens.
That's right. Right, this is where the magic. Well, downstairs is where a lot of there's some storage stuff too. So
yeah. Okay.
But,
well, hey, I mean, as we know, Lego bleeds. It bleeds through the house.
It does. And the idea is to like get out of this room and get everything downstairs. So I'm going to remodel it and everything. That's where I'll stream. That's where all that stuff's going to.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Hey, you got to have a vision.
That's right. I mean, like, I wouldn't have gotten as far as I have, if I didn't have at least a little bit.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, it makes it a little bit more rewarding too. Whenever you set a goal for yourself and then you hit the goal. I'm with you on that one. So, all right, Johnny, I appreciate you as always.
Thank you so much.
Have always been a kind soul to me. from the beginning of coming into the lug. So I appreciate you. That's something I'm going to toss out to people as well. If you have a lug nearby, do not feel overwhelmed or do not be afraid to reach out to them, because there are a lot of good people in our lug, and it's very rewarding to get to interact with the lug members and the friends that you get to make there. But you learn a lot of stuff. As Johnny said, he learned from people in the lug to get to where he is. It's definitely a rewarding experience. So if you have a lug close by, definitely check it out. Or if you just want to come join us at the Steel City Lug, we'll welcome you with open arms as well. So,
And from what I've heard from a number of people, like in other lugs and stuff, we tend to be, and this isn't just to tout us or in any way, but we tend to be much more involved with our community and stuff than a lot of the other ones do. I mean,
okay.
all of the lugs do events to varying degrees, but we've got a couple of people that are in the lug itself that are just very good at being like, hey, we need to promote this, we need to do this, we need to reach out, so and so, and then that just kind of snowballs to other places. Like people will be at an event and they'll be like, how do we get you guys that for instance, we're doing the library con. Yep. That started with something else, and now it's like, oh, now we're starting to be there. Yep. And stuff. So it just kind of is a snowball effect both ways, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and then I mean that just it just shows you literally can take Lego anywhere. Yeah. We can be in libraries, we can be in convention centers, we can be pretty much anywhere with it. Yeah. So you can make an event happen anywhere you want. So you just sometimes just a little bit of initiative, and that'll get you to where you want to be. So
we're at the Fayette County Fair. We're in a tent.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it literally can
home. We've been everywhere. At a trolley museum. We're at the Carnegie Science Center. Everywhere. So.
Yeah. So you literally can be anywhere, even in a field. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time to join me tonight. Again, for anybody watching or rewatching, check out Jonnybuildz on YouTube and then Instagram as well. Give him a follow. Check out his videos so you can see all that he's done. And Johnny, I'm going to ask you, even though I see you more often than not, I'm going to ask you to check in. I want to check in with you later this year. See where you've been. Probably after the conventions, like this mid-year conventions, just to see what you did.Maybe sometime October or September, October. See what you did. See where all your projects are at. So
we could maybe do it as like a feature at Brick Erie or something like that. If you're going to,
that's right. That. Yeah, that could work too. All right, sounds like a plan. All right, well, everybody, I appreciate everybody sticking with us tonight and rewatching. If you missed anything, make sure you go back, check it out. And Johnny, I will see you probably at our quarter. No, I'll probably see you at the brewing in a couple weeks. Here, are you going to go to?
Yeah. That's on the docket. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll see you there in a couple weeks.
All right.
All right, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you guys. Check out Jonnybuildz YouTube and Instagram. All right. See you, Johnny. See you, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you. Bye.
Keep on building.